Two new fragrances from the brand of Maison Asrar, Throne Eclipse and Hunter. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice merry gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. It's also time for some more fragrance reviews. Seems like I've been doing that a lot lately. Today I'm going to talk about two relatively new releases from the brand of Maison Asrar that are called Hunter and Throne Eclipse. Now, the brand of Maison Asrar is an interesting brand. I've come across them quite a few times throughout, since having this channel over 3 years now, but in the past I had very limited experience with their fragrances. I think up until a month ago I had only 1 or 2 fragrances from them in my collection, one of them being a decent clone of Dior Homme Intense, for example. But lately I've noticed that the brand itself started to get more coverage, more and more people started talking about this brand, so I was curious to see what's this all about. They have seems that they're having a lot of new releases, new packaging and all that stuff, and I was really curious to check them out. So lately I've been adding quite a few fragrances from Maison Asrar to my collection, and today it's time to talk about 2 of those new scents. I'm going to start with this blue one, which is called Hunter, because I bought both of them blindly. I didn't know what to expect at all, and this was the one that I immediately recognized, the scent itself, what it has been inspired by. But I'm going to talk about that in a second. A very quick look at the packaging and presentation. Blue and golden colored box. The important stuff, EDP concentration, 100 milliliter bottle size. I think there was a production date. Yeah, this is the production date here is July of 2025. You open up the box like this. It has magnetic edges, which is always a nice touch. And then this is the way that the bottle looks. As you can see, it has this sort of a lion head up front. The bottle design has nothing to do with the original scent. Plastic cap and a very good atomizer with good strong distribution. I'm going to use it on my arm. Again, as I said, as soon as I sprayed this one, I knew immediately what this is trying to be. This is a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mole. I love Ultra Mole, one of my all-time most favorite designer fragrances, and I didn't know that this was an Ultra Mole clone, but I immediately liked the scent of this one as I sprayed it. Now, I might be a bit biased because of how much I like Ultra Mole, but this is a very nicely done clone of Ultra Mole. Maybe not the closest one, this has a minor twist, but still the quality is very nice and the scent itself is pretty close to the original one. Opens up with a blast of sweetness and aromaticness. This has a strong lavender note. It has those fruity notes of the original fragrance, meaning the pure note, but in here there's also the note of pineapple, which just twists a little bit the scent. That's the twist that I pick up in this one compared to the original in the opening. You'll get a bit of a freshness, maybe just a hint of greenness, just like the original one, and a bit of woodiness. The more this dries down, the less fresh it becomes, the more woody and sweet. Thanks to the vanilla note, it becomes slightly powdery. I think there's a tonka bean in this one or something like that that adds a bit of powderness. The dry down of this one compared to the original seems to be ever so slightly more woody, having slightly bigger emphasis on the woodiness, but still, it smells very, very close to Ultra Mole, especially in the air. Those differences are noticeable up close. So it's fresh, fruity and aromatic in the opening and woody and sweet on the dry down. Basically this smells a little bit more fruity than Ultra Mole in the opening and a little bit more woody on the dry down, but overall it's great. Ultra Mole just has a little bit more freshness and has this sort of like a sparkly effect on my skin whenever I spray the original one. Something that comes down to quality as well, I would guess, but still Maison Asrar's Hunter is actually a very nicely done clone of Ultra Mole. Now when it comes to performance, it's a good performing fragrance. Straight out of the box this was giving me at least 7 hours of performance. A few weeks later this is close to 8 hours with pretty good projection in the first hour and a half up to 2 hours. So not the strongest clone of Ultra Mole that I have in my collection, but definitely one of the better performing ones. Price wise, I personally paid, I think, close to 30 euros, so around about 30 something dollars. At that price point, it's about a quarter of the price, a third to a quarter of the price of the original. If you like the original and you don't have access to things like 9 p.m. from Afnan or Rayhaan Lion, this is one of your next best options in my opinion. And when it comes to versatility, it's as versatile as the original fragrance. You can wear this throughout the year. In summertime you have to be a little bit careful with the sprays because this is a little bit more on the sweeter side. It's slightly more appropriate for cold weather. It's perfect for a night out, a date night. You can wear this to school or whatever. It's a nice, youthful, masculine fragrance. And now let's talk about the other one, which is called Tron Eclipse. Now this one is a little bit more interesting as a scent, simply because I'm not exactly sure if this is cloning something, if this is an inspiration of something, or it's an original creation. Now, this reminds me of a few fragrances out there, but at the same time, it smells different to those that at least I'm aware of, I'm familiar with. Again, a very quick look at the packaging and the presentation. Black colored box with golden accents, 100 ml bottle size, EDP concentration. This one opens up like a book, like so. Nice presentation. In fact, it even has the notes written on the inside, and the production date of this one is September of 2025. Again, magnetic edges on the box itself, which is pretty nice. And then this is the way that the bottle looks. Now, this is an interesting bottle design. Looks a little bit like a tombstone or something like that. And it has a built-in sprayer, something like that you'll find in, let's say, the 1 million lineup of fragrances. The bottle actually looks kind of nice and interesting, has an interesting design. And the sprayer is good. In fact, this is probably one of the better built-in sprayers that I've tried on any kind of a fragrance. Doesn't matter if it's a Middle Eastern one or, you know, a designer one. And this smells quite interesting. Again, a few sprays. So I can talk about the opening of this one. Now the opening here is probably the most unique part of the scent, because on the dry down I find it similar to some stuff. The opening is more on the unique side, at least to my nose. This opens up very spicy, very boozy, with quite a strong apple note, quite a bit of amber and vanillic sweetness, but this also has a bit of a green touch. There's a geranium note with this one, which is pretty present to my nose in the opening. But again, it's also pretty spicy and very boozy. I don't think there's a boozy note listed in the note breakdown, but this definitely has a boozy note that's quite strong. Now, the opening in here, as I said, feels as the most unique part of this scent, because in the opening, this may sort of distantly remind you of things like, let's say, Parfum de Marly's Altair, but this is a lot more spicy, this is boozy, this is greener and a lot less sweet than Altair itself. Now the more this dries down, the more that spiciness goes away, that fruitiness goes away, and it becomes a lot sweeter on its dry down, and that's where this actually starts to smell closer to Altair actually, without again feeling super close to Altair. On the dry down this may feel like, I don't know, 60% close to Altair. I don't like to put percentage on fragrances and similarities, but let's say for the sake of today's video that this gets close to about 60% of Altair. But this still remains quite a bit boozy, and this has a different type of sweetness. It has the vanillic sweetness that you'll find in Altair, but this also has more ambers and more woods as well. So it's quite an interesting fragrance. Another fragrance that this reminds me of, especially on the dry down, is from the brand for a Beat Prestige, and that one is called Lutfach Light in the Heart, because that one is also an inspiration of Altair, but it's like a mashup between Altair and Grand Soir. And my guess is that this reminds me of Lutfach because this has more ambers than Altair itself. But again, more like 50-60% close to that Beat Prestige fragrance, and the rest of it, it's like a unique take on that scent profile. Overall, again, this smells of nice quality. It smells very, I won't say exactly oriental, but in a way it smells oriental. It's spicy, it's fruity, it's boozy, slightly green, and then you get lots and lots of sweetness on the dry down along with some woods. Overall, a very interesting fragrance that I actually been enjoying a lot, and my wife has also been enjoying this one quite a lot. Again, I don't think this is a clone of anything, or at least I'm not aware of a fragrance that smells pretty similar to this one, but this reminds me of Lutfach Light in the Heart from our Beat Prestige, and in a way Parfum de Marly's Altair. When it comes to performance, it's more or less like Hunter. So we're talking about 7 to 8 hours of longevity, with the first hour and a half up to 2 hours of pretty decent projection, so it's I would say a good performing scent. Price wise, this is a little bit more expensive. I personally paid a few more euros, so around about 30 something euros, around about $35, let's say, as a price point. Again, compared to Altair, let's say this is a lot cheaper, but then this is not an exact clone of Altair. So yeah, in this case, I would say it's an okayish price for the quality and the scent profile and the performance that you get in return. Versatility wise, I would say this one maybe feels a little bit unisex, but leaning to the masculine side. And again, just like Hunter, I find this one to be a more appropriate wear for the colder months of the year. And in fact, I don't see myself reaching for this one in the summertime. And at the end, a few very quick final words and my scoring on the two fragrances that I reviewed in today's video, plus some pros and cons. When it comes to Hunter, the pros and cons, the pros are that this has a very likable scent profile that can be quite versatile. It's a very youthful scent, smells nice, the quality is nice, the performance is also pretty good, and the pricing is pretty affordable. So those are the things that this fragrance has going for it. The cons are that at this point in time we have so many clones of Ultra Mode that this probably will get lost a little bit in the sea of all those clones. So this is probably the biggest con of this fragrance, the fact that it's coming out on the markets when we already have so many clones. And another con about both of them actually will probably come down to availability. I'm not too sure how widely available they are at the moment. For Tron Eclipse, the good things are that this smells quite unique. It has an interesting scent profile, has good performance and good quality. The cons, in this case, it's pretty hard to say, but let's say that this was a little bit more expensive than a Hunter itself. And again, we have a lot of Altair clones at this point in time, so again, this might be a little bit late to the party. Overall, if I have to rate them, for me, Hunter will get a score of 8.5 out of 10. I will take away a point on this one because it doesn't perform as good as some of the other clones of Ultra Mode that I have in my collection. And for the slight twist of the scent profile, because of the note of pineapple, which I'm not a huge fan, I'm going to deduct half a point, so I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. For Tron Eclipse, again, I will go with a similar score, 8.5, because this in a way smells quite unique and interesting. And also has a good quality and all that stuff. So guys, in today's video I reviewed two new releases from the brand of Maison Asrar that are called Hunter and Tron Eclipse. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.